We see a lot of sellers who've got the best distribution network you can think of directly from the brand, and Amazon will still decline gating. There was a lawyer about 8-9 years ago who started advertising that she could help people get ungated, and it was such bullshit. No one can predict, what you're going to get, so we don't do it. Good documents help, but we don't know why Amazon declines so many. So right now, we just went over about 20 different things you need to look at before you send it to Amazon. Do whatever you can. And sometimes, listen, you got to be creative. You're an entrepreneur. If you didn't want to be creative and think, right, you'd have a regular job someplace and you would not be watching this podcast.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Seller Assistant Talks, the show where we talk with Amazon sellers, service providers, and partners. I'm Oleg, the founder of Seller Assistant. It's a tool that helps online arbitrage and wholesale sellers find and analyze profitable products on Amazon. If you're an Amazon seller who want to learn and grow, you're in the right place. Today's guest is CJ Rosenbaum. He is a world-renowned US lawyer focused on helping people, companies, and brands to solve their problems on Amazon. We will talk about how to get paid when Amazon refuses and what sellers can do to protect their account and listings. Also, CJ is the founder of AmazonSellersLawyers.com and legal expert on Amazon account suspensions, listing issues, and intellectual property disputes. CJ has helped thousands of sellers around the world, spoken at major Amazon events, and written several legal guides for sellers. CJ, welcome to the show.
Oleg, thank you very much for having me on. I'm really excited to share the information. So to help your sellers help themselves, that's the goal. Teach them how to help themselves.
Let's start with your story. How did you get there? What is your path?
Okay, so how I ended up here is I was always a trial lawyer. My first career, I was the guy in court putting on cases in front of American juries and judges. And I went through a divorce, which was a huge blessing. And right after my divorce, I owed my ex-wife a ton of money, okay, an absolute ton of money. And the judges in New York basically went on strike. So I had to find something else to do. And one of the clients that I represented in helping him buy an Amazon-based business told me that there was an issue with suspensions, with Amazon holding your money, and he thought I should look into it. So I did. I love working with entrepreneurs. And while it was always a small part of my practice, it was like a light switch. I was like, you know what? I love this. I stopped trying cases except for Amazon sellers. And fast forward now, it's about 10 years later. And I have the most incredible team of people helping me help sellers. I love what I do. My job is really big picture strategy. I talk to dozens of sellers a day. And then I've got a fantastic team behind me getting your accounts back on, getting your listings on, getting your money, helping you when you get sued, helping you when you develop a brand, anything that pertains to selling products on Amazon. My team, if we're doing it, we're the best in the world at it. And I couldn't be prouder of my team.
Sounds great. The best situation for Amazon seller, they never get contact with you, right? But if the events happen that they have to, so how you can help them?
Okay, first of all, sellers reach me every day. I speak with sellers 7 days a week. Holidays, like, Christmas, my team is off. I'm still available. So if any of you sellers, you need help, you can email me at cj@amazonsellerslawyer.com. You can submit your case at amazonsellerslawyer.com. And you can also just call on the phone. It's a U.S. number, so it's +1 and then 212-256-1109. And we always answer the phone. We always respond because, we know when you're having a problem on Amazon, it's very, very stressful and you need to get information quickly.
So what type of the problems usually they come with?
For most Amazon sellers, the problem that they're facing is getting their listings back or getting their accounts back when they've been deactivated or suspended for a host of problems. The number two issue for sellers is getting your money when Amazon refuses to release it to you or they've lost your inventory. For individual sellers, those are the top two problems year after year after year.
I know that you have prepared something to say about how to avoid such situation. Can you share it with us?
I got to tell you something. I'm taking notes from what you're asking me, but I know this stuff inside and out. And every day my firm meets and we share information. Okay, so the number one thing going on in 2025 to avoid problems is to avoid selling branded products that are going after sellers. They'll come after you with an intellectual property right complaint or an IP complaint. Some people call it a rights owner complaint. So before you start buying pallets or truckloads of products, take a look to see whether that particular brand is going after sellers. And if you do that, you will avoid probably 50% of the current suspensions that are going on. Don't get involved against brands who are actively hurting sellers unless you're going to make a boatload of money. Then it's worth it.
Got it. By the way, guys, we have IP Alert by Seller Assistant extension, and also we have a IP Alert feature integrated to Seller Assistant, which shows all the information about the brand and specific ASIN you can add. And we show known problems and account has issues related to brand or ASIN. We show the date that the issue has occurred. We show the Amazon enforcement applied to the seller. And also we show the type of issue. So use Seller Assistant to avoid such products, or install IP Alert by Seller Assistant extension. It will help a lot you to avoid such products. Speaking about that, you said that it's better to avoid such products, but we speak about resellers right now, right?
Well, here's the story. In the United States, okay, and that's wherever you're located, wherever in the world you're selling products, you're working under U.S. law, particularly the state of Washington, where Amazon's headquarters is located. So under U.S. law, you can buy and sell anything that you want. You don't need the brand's permission. So if you get into a product because you're going to make a lot of money and the brand makes a complaint against you, you can usually beat that complaint. Okay. However, if you're not going to make a ton of money, you may not want to get into the fight. So if you can avoid the fight and go into other products. But again, there's always a caveat, like we are entrepreneurs, right? We are here buying and selling to make money. So let's say you can buy this, this, I don't know if it's Apple or Samsung, whatever this pen is, right? And you're going to make $1 million doing it, and you are solid on the law, do it. And don't worry about the complaints, right? But if it's just a product that you're not going to crush it on, it's usually better to avoid problems. Risk versus reward in everything.
Got it. I understand that, and as Amazon now is forcing counterfeit policies, and they try to take a risk out from, if they get complaint from seller or someone, they just go and suspend your listing, right? And then you have to bring all the documents to prove that you don't sell counterfeit products, you have a proper supply chain. How does it work right now?
You're 100% right. So there are really two types of counterfeit complaints. Ones that are accurate and true, that you somehow got involved with selling counterfeit products, and two, a counterfeit complaint that is false, a false counterfeit complaint. Okay, so the vast majority of sellers don't want anything to do with counterfeit products. It's not good for business. You don't make that much more money. Okay, those days are long gone. So generally, people are selling genuine products, and that's where the sourcing documents come in. Now, when you have a brand that falsely accuses a seller of selling counterfeit products, the seller has claims against the brand. And you use that as leverage to get the brand to withdraw its complaint. Okay, so there are three steps. Okay, analyze the complaint, whether it's counterfeit, trademark, copyright, a patent, who cares? Same three steps. Analyze the complaint. Is the complaint accurate? or is the complaint wrong? Number two, reach out to whoever made the complaint and ask for a retraction.
What is the retraction?
You would attach your documents to show that the complaint is false, wherever you sourced it from. And then if you can, get documentation or even websites to show where your source obtained the products. Okay? So number one, analyze. Number two, ask for a retraction. It's in the email that Amazon sends to you. It has the email of whoever made that complaint. Reach out to them, send them your sourcing documents, and ask for them to withdraw the complaint and include whatever analysis you did, right? Like, let's say it's an OtterBox phone case, right? I would include my receipt from Staples, pictures from Staples' website showing that they buy them from OtterBox, and I'd send them over to whoever made the complaint. Now, the third step, either the person who made the complaint is going to agree with you and retract the complaint, or they're not, right? It's either yes or no. It doesn't matter. The third step is to write a plan of action and send it to Amazon that includes your analysis, includes your invoices, and includes the response or the lack of a response from who made the complaint. Okay? We have used this exact process thousands, if not tens of thousands of times to get complaints off your accounts. Analyze, retract, plan of action, ARP. That's the process we use because it works.
You said that the seller need to provide all the supporting documents proving their purchase from the right source, right?
It helps. But many sellers don't want to reveal where they obtain their products from, right? So if you're doing that, then you may want to maybe send them a sample of the product, send pictures of the product, send them pictures of the packaging, because you may not want to reveal your source because then you might get cut off, okay? But first you analyze, right? Then you seek a retraction with whatever documents you have, and only after those two steps do you send Amazon a plan of action.
But what if the seller bought product from a liquidation store, for example?
Don't send the invoices. Don't send the receipts. Take pictures of the products. Take pictures of the warranty. Take pictures of the packaging. Maybe do like an unboxing video, okay? Do whatever you can. And sometimes, listen, you got to be creative. You're an entrepreneur, right? If you didn't want to be creative and think, right, you'd have a regular job someplace and you would not be watching this podcast.
Okay, what if Amazon require you invoices? Like they say, like send us invoices for like showing the quantity of the product, and invoices should be like not earlier than 180 days. They asking for invoices. So what to do in this case?
Okay, first of all, I'll go through probably 20 things you can look for right away, but I have a list. I made the video like 7 or 8 years ago that I have like 100 different things you can look at. So if you go to AmazonSellersLawyer.com and go to the blog, it's called Look at Invoices Like an Amazonian. And also we now have former Amazonians working for us. I started hiring them years ago and I was going back and forth to India. Okay, so let's look at the basics on an invoice, okay? And listen, I don't have any documents with me. I just know all this because we've done this thousands of times, okay? So on the top left or the top center of your invoice is the name of the company where you bought your products. Make sure it's legit. Make sure everything is spelled correctly, right? Check the address and Google Earth it. Make sure it shows up as a commercial establishment, right? It should have a domain on it. Now, if it doesn't, it's understandable, but Amazon likes to see domains and even email addresses on your invoices, phone numbers, make sure it works, right? Go to the domain and make sure it's legit, that a website opens up, okay? So make sure everything about the source, their contact information is accurate, because Amazon staff in India is going to do the same exact thing. They're going to Google Earth it. They're going to make a phone call, okay? They're going to compare it, I believe, to a huge database of other invoices from the same company. So if you're making up invoices, make sure you do it right, okay? So that's the address, the phone number, the email address, right? Then you want to make sure that the quantity of products that you purchased makes sense. You want to make sure the pricing makes sense. And Amazon's policies say that you can black it out or redact it. Don't do it. Amazon's witnesses have testified in my arbitrations that they do hold that against you. Okay? Don't black out anything. The pricing has to make sense, right? Let me go back to my OtterBox case, right? OtterBox phone case cost, let's say, $50 US. Okay? If I was sourcing it for $1, it doesn't make sense. The amount of money that you're paying for your source of products should make sense. So if you're making it up yourself, don't make it $1 or 50 cents. It's got to be a real wholesale. You're not the only person that's sending invoices to Amazon. Okay. The description should be as solid as possible. Okay. So you want to have the color, the size, the version, the model. Okay. UPCs are sometimes on there. There are other numbers that would be on there. You'll make sure all that stuff is accurate. The invoice should show that it has been paid. Many invoices just show how much you owe. You send in the money and that's it. Amazon looks at that as a purchase order, not an invoice. So it's got to show that it's paid. No handwriting. Don't write anything on it. Don't circle. Don't put arrows. Don't highlight anything. Okay?
We did it.
Yeah, don't do it. And if you did it, get a clean one. And if you feel like you really got to point Amazon staff in the right direction, send 2 copies. One that you circled, like let's say you have a 50-page invoice. Send one clean, one with the circle. Okay? Now, the invoice is also going to show who bought the products. You want all the information about you to match your Amazon account. Name, address, phone number, email address, right? Like, I have several email addresses, okay? Like CJ at AmazonSellersLawyer.com. I share that with my sales team so that they can go in there and make sure they're covered. But I also have a private email address. And like right now, I'm doing this podcast from a house on the lake that I bought and I'm redeveloping, right? So just for my real estate, I have a separate email address. I went back to school to get an advanced degree in tax, right? So Villanova University gave me another email address. But the point is the email address on your invoice should match your account. Everything as much as possible, okay? Now, you also have to take a look and make sure there's no like spelling mistakes, okay? That the name, let's say you live on East Lake Road, right? And that's what Amazon has, the word East. But the invoice says Lake Road or just the letter E, Lake Road. Okay? That's a bit of a problem. You want to get everything to match as closely as possible.
So what do you suggest to ask your supplier update invoice if you find?
Yes. Let's say, Oleg, you bought a trailer of glass mugs, right? Under Oleg K, right? But the business is called Kuzmenkov Sales. Get a new invoice made out to Kuzmenkov Sales. Make everything match. Everything match your Amazon account as much as possible. Okay? So right now, we just went over about 20 different things you need to look at before you send it to Amazon. But go to our blog, and I literally have like 100 because what I did is I interviewed dozens of Amazon staff in India, dozens. And then we started hiring people. So as we did it, I kept adding to the list of things that you want to look at. But those are the basics.
Yeah, I got it. Thank you. It's very helpful. Actually, I believe like this information also helped to ungate products before you send them to Amazon, right? Usually they ask for invoices showing that you have a right supplier to sell this product.
Yes and no. If you obtained gating, it's certainly because you had a good source of products that you were able to substantiate. We see a lot of sellers who've got the best distribution network you can think of directly from the brand, and Amazon will still decline gating. There was a lawyer, I don't know, about 8, 9 years ago who started advertising that she could help people get ungated. And it was such bullshit. No one can predict, what you're going to get. So we don't do it. Good documents help, but we don't know why Amazon declines so many. And my team is the most knowledgeable team in the world by far. No one knows as much as my team does together. Okay, nobody. Anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying. And a lot of the people out there actually reach out to us, even though they have their own companies. My team spends a lot of their time every week making sure we're updated. Our former Amazonians stay in touch with their people still at Amazon. We incessantly fight for information. There's really nobody who can guarantee to get you ungated. Some products they'll be successful, other they will fail, and that's just kind of the way it is.
The question about online arbitration, retail arbitrage. A lot of sellers start their Amazon business, reselling products for retail stores, and they never ever have invoices. What they should do?
A lot of people are very successful and make a ton of money doing just that. Others have problems. So what we suggest is that while it's a really great way to learn how to sell, at some point you should likely diversify where you are getting some invoices, even if it doesn't make you a lot of money, because it will help you when you have a problem. Okay? If you don't have invoices and Amazon starts giving you a hard time, you're probably going to have to abandon some of those products, and in your plan of action, describe how you're going to work a different business model going forward. So it's certainly not fatal. The number of people who get a hard time is probably very low statistically. But as you guys are making more and more money, you have much more to protect, right? Like, when you first start, you don't have anything to protect. You haven't built anything yet. But as you get bigger and bigger, you want to start diversifying. It's just really business and economics, 101 or basics. So that's what we recommend.
Let's recap. What type of documents Amazon sellers must have selling on Amazon?
You should always maintain where and how you source your products. Always maintain it. Always save it. So if any problem, you can pull up that file, find it, and get it to Amazon quickly. In terms of just general business, so, Hershey chocolate, right? Huge, huge company. Milton Hershey said nobody ever went out of business making a profit, right? So I'd also recommend, and it has nothing to do with suspension, but you always want to watch your numbers. What are you spending? What are you selling it at? What are your additional costs? And make sure you're making a profit every day. There's nothing wrong with taking risks once you're making money, right? But you want to really make sure that once you get your business going, that you're making money. Like if I'm paying $50 for this OtterBox case, I got to be selling it for 51 or 52. You got to be making money, and be very, very careful of going in too deep too quickly. Like everyone remember COVID masks? I've worked with at least a dozen, maybe more businesses that went under because they went really big into COVID masks and then the floor dropped, right? So just watch your numbers. That's number one. Watch your numbers.
Yeah, but what if some sellers have inventory which very slow moving, like they bought that by mistake and they start selling below the break-even point to get their money back, and then get complaint or something like that. Did you see something like that?
We see that all the time. So listen, you can't own your own business without making mistakes. Right? So you buy inventory, it's not moving, you're getting hit with storage fees, your cash is tied up, so you start cutting prices. That's business, right? I would just say if it's a branded product, you want to cut your prices slowly and be a little bit patient so that you don't draw complaints. But at some point, you just got to get rid of it because you need the cash to invest in things that are going to be profitable.
One more question about suspensions. What to do if Amazon hold your money?
Great question. So everyone wants to go to court and sue right away, and and you go nuclear. Okay, so if Amazon is refusing to release your money, it's usually because either your listing or your account is down. It could be because you've been accused of selling counterfeit products, or it's because Amazon lost your inventory when you sent it into FBA. So you should always try and resolve it amicably through plans of action. If you get your account back, Amazon will release your money. If you can show that Amazon's FBA warehouse received your products, you will usually get your money. When Amazon absolutely refuses, then the mechanism to resolve that dispute is through an arbitration process through a private arbitration company called the American Arbitration Association. The filing fees are a minimum of $2,400 US. Okay, so let me take a step back. If Amazon owes you up to $10,000, you can sue Amazon in a U.S. small claims court. It's the lowest level court that we have. And the courts often limit you even further, $5,000, $7,500. Okay? If it's over that, then you can go to arbitration. But you have to do the math. If it's going to cost you $2,400 in filing fees, and you really can't prove that you're right, is it worth your time and money? Right? And think about it. You really, there's a lot of us business people, like entrepreneurs, we're emotional, right? We get really happy when we make a lot of money and we're successful, and we get really angry and really pissed off, right, when someone's stealing from us. But when it comes to going after Amazon, you want to make sure that you can prove that you're right to somebody else. Okay? And also just analyze the numbers. We don't go to arbitration, unless it's like 35,000 or more, 40,000 or more, because one, you got the filing fees. Number two, you got to pay us. And then it's no guaranteed win, right? So do the math, make sure you have a good thing, and then consider filing. And you can absolutely file arbitrations yourself. Again, you go to our blog. We have, literally, 10,000 pages of help for free, 4,000 or 5,000 videos. So if Amazon owes you money, go to my website, run it through the blog. Okay? Amazon refuses to release my money. It'll teach you about the arbitration process, so then you can make a good business decision whether to proceed or move on, because you do not make money suing people. You make money buying and selling products. And every hour you spend focused on something else is an hour you could have been making money, right? So just look at your numbers, then make good decisions. Intellectual decisions, not emotional.
Thank you, CJ, for such valuable information. I hope it will help our viewers to better understand how it works and avoid such situations. Before we finish, do you want to say something to sellers who are watching us right now?
Yeah, I do. If you're watching this, you're fired up to get into business on your own, and do it. Amazon is still the number one opportunity to really get into business without needing a lot of money. Okay, you learn from podcasts like this. You can start with arbitrage. You can start with retail arbitrage, online arbitrage. And as you get to learn more, you'll see whether it's for you or not. But I would just say go for it, okay? And I know that sounds like very American, like, hey, go for it, Nike, just do it, right? But people and companies, old, young, rich, poor, you can get online. It's all based upon your hard work and your intellect. So I would say go for it. It's a huge opportunity that doesn't require, a lot of money to get started.
Thank you, CJ. Thank you to all of you who are watching us right now. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. And don't forget to visit sellerassistant.app for a tool that helps to grow your Amazon business. And also visit CJ's website as well. All the links in the descriptions. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.